Dragons have been a thing since 2019, and till this day, people still do it. Although in this 2-year period, there has been buffs and nerfs to the equipment we use, that hasn't stopped people from reaching the highest amount of damage done to a dragon. This trend of reaching a high number isn't new, but trying to get the most damage on the dragon fight is by far the most popular one ever. If you ever to spawn a dragon, most players' intention is to see how much damage can they do and be impressed by it. However, after doing several fights, you will start to wonder, what is the hypothetical amount of damage you can do to a dragon? Several players have already reached over the end limit in the past, but I won't be talking about that, as nowadays it is impossible to do what they did. I will also not be including bugs in this video, because I know some players will try to replicate it, and then when they do and lost money, they will come back and blame me for it. Anyways, we first need to know the damage cap on dragons. Earlier this year, the admins have added a hard cap to the dragon, meaning you won't be able to do over that damage no matter what. And before the hard cap, there are some soft caps you need to go through, meaning this would be quite a challenge if you were to do this. So, for example, a superior dragon has 12 million HP. The soft cap begins at 0.4% of the HP of any dragon, so in this case, if you do 48,000 damage or less, you'll be fine. But once you start to get over that damage, it will be reduced by 90%, meaning if you deal 49,000 damage, it will actually be 48,000 plus 1,000 times 10%, which is 48,100. The next soft cap will begin at 0.6% and the next after at 0.8, and finally at 1%. Although this at first doesn't seem much, but each soft cap reduces your damage by 90%. So if you were to try to do 1% of the dragon's HP, it will require you to do 224% of the dragon's HP as damage. But there is a way around this. Instead of going for damage, players could go for another stat that would double or maybe even triple your damage. That being the ferocity stat. This stat allows you to hit the enemy more than once on each strike, making it very effective against the dragon. Instead of going for more damage, you're hitting the dragon more, but in return for slightly less damage per hit. The highest amount of ferocity you can have while fighting a dragon is 357 ferocity. So that means you will have a 100% chance of hitting the dragon 3 more times, and a 57% chance to hit it the 4th time, increasing your damage per second by a lot. There are also alternatives such as the Wither Skeleton Pet, which will do 200% of the damage you dealt in 3 seconds, dealing about 66.67% of the damage per second. But all of these could also be buffed by over 2 times the amount. And how, you might ask? Well, to simply put it, hitboxes. Unlike like a normal mob, the Ender Dragon has several hitboxes. This means weapon like the Axe of the Shredder is insanely powerful when at the right angle. Sometimes you could even do 8 times the damage per second you were doing. However, this number isn't always right. Because Hypixel is very laggy, sometimes ferocities just don't strike. But if we assume the server was actually good, then yes, it can do up to 15 times the damage per second. Because of how the Axe of the Shredder works, it makes it the only weapon so far that can do this. Not to mention, the Axe of the Shredder doesn't do any true damage to the dragon, so you are not actually killing it, but instead only increasing the damage you have dealt to the dragon. Now, let's put everything together. Assuming you're able to do 1% of the HP of an old dragon, and the dragon stays in place at the same spot forever, and you have the perfect angle for the maximum extra hits from the Axe of the Shredded, then you're able to deal about 18 million DPS to the dragon. So now what is the highest amount of damage you can do to a dragon? An end lobby can sometimes last for 36 Minecraft days. Each Minecraft days is about 20 minutes, so 36 days will be 12 hours. If you're doing 18 billion DPS to the dragon, then in 12 hours you're able to do 786 billion damage. And whenever a lobby wants to be rebooted, it will add an extra 10 minutes if there's a dragon fight. That will add an extra 11 billion damage and will bring the total to nearly 800 billion. But it does take precisely 10 seconds to spawn a dragon, and that's already assuming you take 0 seconds to place all 8 of the eyes. Because of that, it will reduce the damage you could have dealt by 182 million damage. So, the total of damage that can be done to a dragon from one person is 797 billion and 284 million and 530,000 damage. As always, I hope you guys enjoy the video.